Shinryu has finally come around the corner, along with with the first Force weapon. I really actually had a lot of fun with this first one. Uh, I don't know, it wasn't overly complicated, and yeah, I have like the character for it, so I can't really say how difficult it is or isn't without him. But I had fun with him on the team, and Edge and Theodore actually did a pretty good job. The whole gist of this is that they're basically gonna do like continuous like bits of raw like HP damage from what I remember. I don't really know in depth wise, I didn't really look up too much for this. I just know certain bits and pieces, but from what I kind of remember, it's basically like they'll try to hit you with like just raw HP damage, just hit you, and then their force effect is essentially HP poison. Funnily enough, I read that and I was like, oh, they're gonna apply it as a debuff. No, it just happens, and it gets worse as like their force gauge like progresses in chug, which did not become a problem because Edge is here, so he's basically either going to, even if they had an all attack, which I don't think they do, I don't remember, I think it was all just single target, but even if they did, he would be there to make sure that no one else got hit. But since they don't, they all just have lock on him, and he's never about to get hit, other than from HP damage. I think one time Theodore got hit at some point in this. Maybe I forgot to apply the lock or something. I don't remember. I have to see like right now if that was the case. But yeah, and then Kane's Kane. I kitted this man out to the nines. The only thing he doesn't have is his Ultima weapon, and that's because I gotta play the long game here. Cause you see, Jack Garland might come out like in December, and I want to have a fully like kitted out Ultima weapon just for that guy. Cause once he's here, he's pretty much gonna be on all of my teams if I'm able to do that. But that's in the future. Right now we've got the first Shinryu. Yeah, no, again, this is pretty fun. It's not overly complicated, and if you get and I think if I remember correctly, the enemy's force gauge only like insta kills you if you're like below 50%. But even if you don't have like your force weapon stuff up, which I don't think I did, I think like I tried to stall a little bit, but even then they couldn't hit anybody because Edge was there, and he just kept dodging and giving him with his follow-ups and whatnot, or sorry, not follow-ups, counters and whatnot. So I think even without Kane there, their force time or whatever wouldn't have been too much of an issue. Which thank God. And Theodore's actually putting in work, not as much as Edge and Kane, because like he's older compared to them, but even still, the sheer fact that he can pretty much deal with the HP poison shenanigans because he just kind of heals on everything, except I mean like he heals himself with Awakening, heals everybody with his LD, and then his skill 1, I think either heals a little bit or like heals a little bit at first, then a lot at the end of the move. I know it heals a little bit at the very least, so that'll be able to at least touch up on the HP poison. And then he's got like heal all for his C65, but also that doesn't really matter too because Lena's there, so that's a quick burst heal on both of those skills. And then Lilith's LD call ability is it can heal, so you know. I think, yeah, at this point here, I was trying to stall a little bit because I was like, they're getting ahead a little bit with the force gauge, so I wanted to try and like at least get up to snuff or close to that, so I can at least get my stuff off. Man, oh man, I did this like the other day, or no, I did this today, and like a little bit later I ended up testing a little more with Kane, and I was like, oof, I was not using like the force time gauge to its fullest extent with this run, but that's okay. That's the whole point with learning, so I don't mind. And plus, I beat it anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter at the moment. But it's good for me to at least like be like, oh shoot, yeah, I wasn't doing it, you know, correctly, or I guess like optimally might be the better word for it. But whatever. Man, I don't know. It's just I think it's been a while since I've said a fight was like just genuinely fun, and not like a okay, I came, I saw, I win, I did the thing, it's over with. Now I'm gonna wait for the next one. Because I guess it's just very interesting. Like I did not like the orbs, so now that they're gone, and I thought like reading up some stuff and seeing other people talk and whatnot, I thought the force gauge would seem like just another like orb, because it does have like conditionals, right? Because I think it was like the enemy's force weakness is doing range damage, so I was like, oh gosh, here we go. But no, they in like I think like a couple of seconds here, they're gonna proc their like their own force time and try to like hit everybody. But I used Blitz Mirage and they couldn't do anything because everybody was dodging. So with stuff like that, I'm glad that it's like it's less of a, oh look at you, you messed up, try again, or bring an Echo next time and maybe you wouldn't have died fully. But now it's just a, hey, at least from based upon this first one, it's just a, hey, dodge, block, just make sure this doesn't kill you and you'll be alright. Like if you know, maybe like let's say if you know with your party setup that you're not about to like get your gauge up a lot quicker than the enemies will, then like prepare to like get hit in the face, you know. Get your edge, get your warriors of like, get maybe Bosch will help, but I mean he's a little old, but I mean heck, anybody can make people work at this point, especially if they just got Kane on the team, or like Garnet or something. But yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad actually. I'm pretty happy with this squad, and they're all Final Fantasy IV. Ooh. It's just, I don't know, it's just crazy. I thought it would be like a lot difficult for me personally, because I'm just like, dang, I don't know, am I ready? Is it good? I know I've got like Kane and stuff, but like, you know, I remember way back when it was the Sephiroth Lufenia. It was the imps, those freaking imps, and I got his burst, but that didn't mean anything to those imps, and so I'm wary of times like those where it's like, yeah, I have the main banner guy with the burst or FR or whatever, but like, is it gonna be enough? And clearly I had nothing to worry about along with this one. But on a side note, man, this era is gonna be rough for me, because up next is Cryo, then after that's Braska, then after him is Desh. I was gonna skip Braska, but then I paid attention to the story as per usual, and I was like, dang it, this game has endeared me to Braska. I might need to get him just because of that. It doesn't really matter if he's like busted or anything. I don't really care about that at this point, because like everybody's about to be busted. Like, look, if I can, I know Edge and Kane especially is here, but if I can kind of bring Cedar trucking along, I don't think it really matters, especially someone that's gonna get their force weapon in this era. I think at this point it's gonna be a matter of like, and they're kind of mediocre, but whatever, it's fine. Not like, I don't think there's been like a truly trash character since like when it was just the EX weapons or the EX Plus era. I'm trying to make sure I'm getting my arrows right, because I remember like Zell, when he got his EX junk all in order, I think like Plus, it was like with the Leviathan summon. Yeah, no, he wasn't that. Now that was bad. Krauss was underwhelming, but I don't think it was like, no, it might have been a little garbage. But I think like since the Lufenia era, and now it's gonna be especially now with like the Force time, everyone getting Force weapons or like Force enhancements for the Force times, or like you bringing in characters not necessarily because of their usefulness, but that they're like really good with like bringing up the Force gauge, like Penelo for example. I've heard that like she's really good with racking that up. I know Ludafreya is, because I remember seeing a couple of videos where like all she would do, like all they would do was like bring a friend Ludafreya and spam like I think like what her skill 1 and skill 2 or something like that, and then she would dip. It was just to bring up the gauge, I think. Granted, it could have been for a completely different reason. I don't know too much about her other than the fact that she's like good, I guess. But otherwise, like, yeah, there. I feel like there's gonna be a lot more interesting things with this. At least I hope, because I haven't like checked up on JP to see whether or not like some of the stuff on there, what their conditionals are or whatever, and I've mostly been kind of like checking out showcases, like, oh, let's see who got their FR weapon now, who I've got to look forward to, or who I've got to skip, or you know, whatever. Yeah, see, this part here, I kind of wish I built it up initially. This is just a side note. I wish I kind of built up the like the damage from FR time in the burst phase, but I mean, thinking back to still, I think this was probably still the better decision, because at least then I was able to like rack up at least like a little bit of points in the burst, or not points, yeah, force points or whatever in the burst time frame, so I can't like complain too much. But back on track, yeah, I guess I gotta have some high hopes for this era, because I really want to have like some at least interesting teams show up in Junk, and I feel like with the more FRs are gonna show up, and like the more particular conditions for them and whatnot, I feel like that'll be really good, because I think like what I don't know Crowds, but I think someone mentioned something like for Crow, maybe like bring like lightning people, and I'm like, oh, that's great, I've got like Edge, so that's good. So I hope it like enforces a little more interesting team comps for people that want to try like I guess just weird and different teams, like, you know, like let's say a Final Fantasy IV team. Like I could really only do this because like Kane was here, or maybe I could have done it without him, but I don't know, and I'm not gonna find out anytime soon, that's for sure. But I just really hope this era goes well, because I like what I'm seeing already. The eyes could have had like a better base mechanic still, but I think it did a pretty decent job as like a first jumping off point of like, hey, here's the Shinryu era, here's the gist of it. Cause like, yeah, give the bosses essentially a do not take hits from him. If you take hits from them and then you're below 50%, and then it's their turn, or the force thing is activated, you're pretty much dead in the water. So like, you know, you can take damage because you have no choice. That HP sap is gonna happen regardless. But you know, just make sure you're on the up and up. Like, you get your regenerations, get your burst healing, or get your regular healing, whatever. But yeah, I'm really hopeful, and I'm really worried. From what like little I've seen on JP videos, I think it might seem fine, but I don't understand Japanese, and I never bothered to like check to see what the conditionals of these bosses are, other than the fact that like, yeah, of course the force weapon user on the banner works for them. It's kind of the intent. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, not gonna lie. It's just gonna be rough. I'm just glad that the FR weapons are like of like LD percentages now. Granted, it costs more to pity, but that's another thing. I'm glad, like, I think they're like the FRs are the same as LD rates, or LD rates were, because now I feel a little more comfortable with spending tickets to try and get them. Otherwise, I'd just be like terrified to spend anything to try to get them, because I know I'm about to be upset if I don't get anything for Cryo, because Cryo is one of the originals. I really liked using her way back when, whether I did it in the video or not. It was just I just liked using her and stuff. Same with Desh, but apparently like he's not too good, but like I take that with a grain of salt, because it doesn't really matter if you can beat the thing, no matter how goofy or messy your team is, or like how maybe underwhelming some of the characters are, then it kind of doesn't really matter at the end of the day. So if I can bring Desh or Cryo or Warrior of Light with, I guess, apparently his weird rework or whatever, if I can bring them into stuff and like still beat it, then like they're like a okay or good character in my book, you know. Jeez. Yeah, see, like they're in their forced time again right here, and nothing's gonna happen. I feel like Edge was a pretty good investment now. I mean, he's gonna get him regardless, but like now bringing him into the first Lufenia, or not Lufenia, Shinryu, and just kind of see him just like taking absolute crap on the enemies because he can't hit anybody. He's continuously just doing damage. It's a shame that I think like a bunch of people kind of will probably skip them, mostly because like Shinryu era is like now, so why get him? Just get some of the people that are like further in or whatever, or maybe use, oh, I guess maybe not Warrior of Light, because apparently again rework's kind of messy. But nah, Edge does his work. He's a really good evasion tank now. It's just I don't think I get to talk about that much before. It was just absolutely stellar how he is now compared to what he was before. Because I'm sitting here like, dude, you can only like, what is it, lock for like 3 turns or something like that, and then Blitz Mirage, you would have to sit on that thing and just be like, okay, they're glowing red now, here's their big attack, and just do it. Now you can just Blitz Mirage whenever, and like you're pretty much bound to get it on the way back. I don't think there's really that many circumstances in which you need to save it now, because it just comes back that quickly. So I think it's one of those, now it's like an EX where you're allowed to actually, you know, press it when it's up. And like his speed, like that's not too much of an issue. Not at all, especially here. Yeah, no, he's doing fine. He's doing his job, and that's honestly all I can really ask for. He's significantly better than like original Edge. Like I know of course he is, because it's a later era, but like looking back on it, even with this kit now or kit then, I was still kind of like, what is he here for? Because I'm pretty sure before he was actually just supposed to be like a tank or an evasion tank, but he wasn't a very good one, because it was very like you gotta sit and wait. Whereas other tanks were like Warrior of Light could just set up a shield and say, alright, have fun. Edge was like, alright, the enemy's like A, B, alright, that means my Blitz Mirage should last for whatever. Oh no, he jump turns, so now I gotta think of something. Maybe I should use smoke, because it will Blitz Mirage, save through the first one or whatever. Then they'll be focused on him for the next attack or whatever. Like it was a lot of thought put into it, which isn't necessarily fine. I don't think like you want like every character to be super brain dead, but it did make it an odd choice, because to be honest with me, I think I only really used him a whole lot when it came to like TCC challenges, because like he was very good at those certain moments where you're like, emergency evade button please. But now he's like a really good tank in his own right, and he like claps back with like, you know, both versions of his counter. So I really couldn't be any happier that he's like as good as he is now. Like he can hang with like the other tanks and junk, like Galuf and all of them. Like Galuf might have like what is it? Well, like Galuf, I like him, but his thing is kind of like he steps in front of someone to protect them. He can't really block them all, so it kind of hurts when it comes to all HP attacks. But you know, like every tank is pretty much good in their own right in some way, shape, or form. I'm just glad that Edge became a better one in the long run. Yeah, he's a good one. He's a good one. Let's see. I still find it funny while we're in the last stretches of this, where it's just Kane's whole game plan is just to not do anything, even though you have to press his buttons for more advantage from like the FR gauge and to fill things up and whatnot. He's basically just supposed to be gone. Like people's game plan generally with him is like, all right, pick a character that just keeps on going and going and going, so that he never comes down. Personally, I like to do a little bit of both. Like I don't mind when he's like comes down, you know. But yeah, that was the first Shinryu, and that's my first ramblings for the Shinryu. I hope you all enjoyed the video and my bit of ramblings, and y'all take it easy, alright?